Hello, this is Zenkus Watch, and I wanted to go over a few things that have not really been discussed much with the Tara Reade scandal. One day I'm going to do a documentary YouTube video on this. It's going to be lit. I'm going to absolutely do a documentary on it because Tara Reade continues to fascinate me. Right now, however, I want to go over some footage that has since disappeared from the internet. People at this point obsolete. She hasn't been in the news for a long time. She got debunked in 2020. People kept on trying to revive it, but she was just so shady. She kept on lying. She kept on being caught in obvious lies, and finally she defected to Russia. And then the final nail in the coffin, Biden ended up not running for the 2024 election. It's now Harris versus Trump. So at this point, Tara Reade's as obsolete as a laser disc. That being said, I still find her fascinating. Not only because she's an object lesson in why you should lead a good life, because she's done exactly what people should not do. She's lied, she's conned, she's played the victim. I think she sincerely believes she is a victim and that she is allowed to lie to people and manipulate people because she's been constantly a victim. This victimhood, which is currently unfortunately very much on vogue among the TikTok generation, is poisonous. It allows you to gaslight yourself into believing you can't be successful, that you can't control your own fate, that everything is somebody else's fault. And since you can't control other people, that means you can't stop the bad things from happening. So the reason you can't get a job is late stage capitalism, not you haven't been putting the effort in. The reason you can't get a date is because of uh, the social media and feminism and blah blah blah, and not because hey, again, you haven't put the effort in. You gotta put more effort in. I'm digressing. I wanted to do this little YouTube video here because I wanted to go over some film clips about Tara Reade and certain other people who have been helping Tara Reade that have since disappeared from the internet. Now, this film clip here by Swedish Jewfish, later Swedish Newfish, she calls herself Swedish Jewfish. She is Jewish herself, so it's a bit of a like tongue in cheek reference to how she is. Also, full disclosure, I knew Zenkus Watch, the host of this podcast. I'm also Jewish, so it's just I for people who might be offended by that name, Swedish Jewfish, keep in mind she was referring to herself in that name. Swedish Jewfish, aka Rebecca, who's in the upper right hand corner, had a podcast where she interviewed a former roommate of Tara Reade's. And this young man was named Chris Parsh. Chris Parsh talked about an incident, allegedly, this is all his allegations. Nevertheless, it seems quite credible to me, where he said Tara Reade and her daughter discussed the possibility of using a false accusation of sexual harassment towards a restaurant in order to try and manipulate the restaurant into giving Tara Reade's daughter a pension check. It was an indication that Tara Reade already had a habit of using false allegations of sexual harassment, sexual assault to get her way about certain things. She had accused her ex-husband of rape in her book. She accused Joe Biden of rape. She accused a cop in Minnesota of molesting her when she was a child. It just always rang false. It always rang as more manipulative behavior than an actual true allegation. I want since this was posted by Swedish Jewfish, she took it down, but I did manage to capture the recording, and I wanted to show it now on this podcast, this allegation. Now, this recording talks about Tara Reade's daughter, and I've been going back and forth about whether Tara Reade's daughter, should I talk about her or not? On the one hand, she doesn't seem much of a public figure. On the other hand, however, she has publicly voiced support for her mother. Tara Reade often posts her on her own public uh, Twitter account. Uh, Tara Reade's daughter, her name is Michaela, and Michaela has come out in public support of her mother. Consequently, Michaela has inserted herself here. Now, she could have been manipulated in that way. I'm not quite sure. I personally think, especially when listening to Chris, that there was some degree of manipulation. Nevertheless, there are a couple of things that are true. One, Michaela has inserted herself into this whole debacle involving Tara Reade's false accusation of rape against Joe Biden. So I consider her a public figure. I consider her fair game, especially since, oops, she is an adult. So right now, let's just look at this since deleted podcast by Rebecca.
Chris was telling us last time we talked about how he needed to move out because his house had been broken into. So his stuff had been stolen, and then Tara Reade said to you, or whatever her name was at that point, said to you, you have to move in with us. And right. She gave an overvaluation of the amount of rent that she spent on her home, and it was in a swanky area. And she said, I won't take no for an answer. So it felt framed as this generous offer you couldn't refuse, so you went along with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then your room had fleas because the dogs that Tara was supposed to be walking would be walked for 20 minutes and then just let out into the backyard of the place that you were paying a disproportionate amount.
Was it even 20 minutes?
I don't think so. Okay. I will be fair with her on a few occasions when I would walk from the house, because the walk from the house to the beach was literally like 2 minutes. It was like right down the street. We would sometimes see her mom with these animals. However, most of the time that she was with these said animals was at the house. They would always just in the back of the house for hours. Mm-hmm. And so that was not cool. I literally slept in a room, obviously not with her, in this little baby bed, twin-size bed. I don't even know how I fit on the damn thing because I'm 6'2".
You curled up in a fetal position saying,
no,
I'm
really,
safe from the fleas now. I'm safe from the fleas now.
I slept in her room almost every single night. There was a few nights, I had bombed my room like 5 or 6 times.
Flea bombed.
Yes, flea bombed, yes. And that whole situation, and I told Tara about it, and she just dismissed it. Oh, it's not a big deal, or, whatever. And I'm like, okay, like, they're literally crawling on me. I don't want fleas on me, okay?
Yeah, it's a big deal. What the?
It is a big deal. It's dirty.
And how much were you paying for rent? Was it $700?
$700, which was actually, for the area, it wasn't that bad.
For the area, yes, but for flea infestation.
For fleas.
Yeah. You couldn't pay me to, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Downstairs smelled like really nasty dog, and then upstairs was like fleas and cats and cat hair. You can't forget the cat hair.
Well, how can we when it's like all over her sweater?
Where was it clean in this place? Like, there's no clean.
What would they clean?
Where was the clean room?
So the room was like this weird, it was pretty big actually. It was like this giant, for whatever reason, I don't know what the reasoning was. There was always this twin-size bed next to her, or alongside of the wall in her room. And, it was there when I started hanging out with her, when we would go to her house to hang out.
She before could get people sleeping there with her.
They flirt with her to protect her from her phobia of her
dad.
Her psycho killer dad that her mother told her was a psycho killer. Yeah. The convicted serial killer dad. Someone said that Tara put on her resume that she worked for FLETC, United States Homeland Security.
Oh.
I don't know. And they said they contacted FLETC, who said they had no record of her doing so. So she said she's part of Homeland Security, Train the Trainer, Domestic Violence, Stalking Prevention.
Stalking prevention.
Like the Politico interviewed so many people who all have the same story. Someone who said, my husband developed brain cancer, so we had to ask Tara to leave the property because we were going to have to sell it. And she said, you're going to have to pay me money to evict me. You're going to have to pay me money to get me to leave.
So she was going to try to quit from the restaurant that we worked at. And she was talking about, and I don't know if she ever did or not, going to the owners and making up a story about why I had to quit. And it could have been, I think it had to do with potential, I don't want to say sexual harassment, but unprofessional conduct, I guess you could say, between her and someone else that worked there, and that she was going to either threaten to sue or get a severance check.
How is that illegal?
How is what illegal?
Her messing around with somebody that works there.
Oh, I don't know. Well, Tara wanted to spin it the way that Tara wanted to, so she could get money.
So she wanted to make a false allegation?
She was basically going to say that she was going to Yeah, I mean, pretty much, yes, because that relationship was consensual, and she was
Her
not
daughter
being
was wrong.
harassed at that job.
So this is very pertinent because that's history of fabricating accusations
Yeah.
of sexual misconduct in order to gain advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
In order to get money.
People that do this usually have done it before.
So tell us about, as much as you remember about this plot.
Tara wanted to make it to where there was insurances, I guess you could say, put in order where she would get a severance check, and she was supposed to get a severance check because of, I guess I don't want to say illicit or inappropriate conduct with a older coworker who was a male, one of the bartenders. But
How old was
she
20?
Huh?
How old was she? 20, 21?
She was 21.
Well, why would...
Did you listen in last time when I told the
watched the whole
story?
thing, yeah.
So about how she was very controlling over her daughter, and how basically the night that she went to go talk to her boyfriend about her personal stuff or whatever, Tara just flew the coop and was like just all like literally like helicopter Karen from hell, like just completely super exaggerating everything, like, oh, what if she got abducted, what if he killed her, well, all of this like just weird. And that's when I kind of had to step away. I was like, I can't help you with this anymore.
I think Bianca's asking why would the restaurant feel the need to give her a severance check relating to...
Because she threatened to defame the restaurant. She was
Okay, so
threatening
more
to
just-
say,
okay.
if
But not
you
any
don't-
legal reasons. just-
if you don't pay up, I'm going to say that this person either assaulted or coerced my child
Manipulated.
into, yes,
My 20-year-old
manipulated.
child.
And that caused a huge blowout between them, because her daughter does not like attention. She does not. She is the exact opposite of Tara. She doesn't like the limelight, which is why she hasn't probably why she hasn't spoken out.
That actually changed. This is almost over, but yeah, that actually changed. Michaela did speak out publicly after this, which is why I've decided to address her.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
She
I
doesn't
wouldn't
like.
speak out either.
Oh, I wouldn't either. I would disown her. But yeah, essentially that whole situation, what it was her. The end game was money. The end game was, if you don't give me money, I'm going to pretty much either take you to court or defame your restaurant for allowing inappropriate behavior between coworkers that are have a huge age gap.
It's
that
not illegal.
I know it's not.
Yeah, but it's a smear campaign.
It's a microcosm. It's a precursor or foreshadowing of the
The
Biden.
foreshadowing.
Well,
this is huge.
And she played on the fears of the owners of the restaurant being proud people working for a fine dining restaurant that had a good reputation in the community. And I'm sure, because she knew that they had deep pockets, and they probably still do, that that they would rather give her what she wanted than
wow.
And see, and the thing is I don't know if
Endgame.
she ever. I was never there. I didn't see if she went to them and actually
Just the
did
fact that she has that mindset.
Right.
That's crazy.
And I could have sworn she said that they had agreed.
That's
she
game
sat down
over.
and they
That's
had-
game over.
Right.
Because even if she didn't talk to them, you're privy to
Yeah.
Yes.
that.
So I thought that was a pretty interesting interview. Now, Swedish Jewfish did actually take down this interview, and I understand why, because even though I find the allegation quite credible, Tara Reade and her allies really did start harassing Swedish Jewfish to the point where she ended up going to the hospital, allegedly. That's what she posted on her Twitter. And she got scared. She got scared. Back in 2020, Tara Reade was still a fairly large figure, and she was backed up by the Russian intelligence, allegedly. But I mean, let's be real, she was. They still thought there was a very good chance that if they kept boosting her story, Biden would lose the election. So anyone who pushed back on her, who showed very damning evidence, like this young man did, that she lied about sexual harassment or she conspired with other people to lie about sexual harassment, all alleged, of course. This is just an accusation. This is all alleged. Nevertheless, it has been confirmed that Chris Parsh did indeed live with Tara and her daughter and was indeed a friend of them. This has been confirmed both by Tara and her daughter, and they tried to discredit him, saying he used to use drugs, etc., etc. It was a whole mess. I was going to leave her daughter out of it, but then her daughter later turned out to publicly support her mother. And all right, so here's a post by Tara Reade, and this is her daughter publicly speaking out and supporting her mother. Once she did this, essentially, she inserted herself into the story, so she made herself a public figure.
Hey there, my name is Michaela. I am Tara Reade's daughter. I just wanted to hop on here and give a really big thank you to all of those who attended her book launch tonight for her new book, Left Out When the Truth Doesn't Fit In. I also wanted to give a really special thank you to all of the speakers and contributors. You are all so inspiring. I am so proud of my mom for sharing her story in the way that she has, despite all that she has faced. And I really hope that her story is inspiring to all the survivors out there. To all of you, I want you to know that you are supported and you are believed. And to all of you who have read my mom's story, thank you so much. Thank you for believing survivors, and thank you for being on the right side of history. Take care. Hey there, my name is...
All right, so people who did not believe Tara Reade were the ones on the right side of history. We are the ones on the right side of history, not the ones who fell for it, not the ones who believed her lies about sexual assault. The ones who disbelieved her, especially the ones who disbelieved her from the jump, like Edward Isaac Dovier, were the ones on the right side of history. Nevertheless, Michaela, as an adult, chose to put this video up here publicly. Now, was she manipulated a little bit by her mother? I think she probably was, especially after what Chris said. I think she is very much manipulated by her mother. However, that being said, she's still an adult and she still chose to do this, which is why I have no problem at all talking about Michaela. So while talking about Michaela, I did find some of her old Vine videos. Now, Chris's allegations about Michaela and Tara conspiring to falsely accuse an employee of a restaurant of sexually harassing Michaela so that the restaurant owners would give Michaela a pension check. This allegation remains an allegation. There's been no firm proof that this happened, but considering the way Tara has falsely accused people of sexual assault in the past, I find it quite believable. There are some interesting tidbits, though. I managed to find Michaela's old Vine videos. All right, so this is an old tweet from talking about Michaela Rosalie. Hashtag hot, hashtag pink boots from 2014. Michaela Rosalie Vine video. What's there? Let's check that out. Is that Michaela? I believe it is. It certainly looks like you're Michaela, May 31st, 2014. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, that's Vine. This is pre-TikTok. This was like the grandfather of TikTok. Obviously, we see Michaela. She's very young, very pretty, very slim, having fun with her friends. You know, this is like social. This is before social media just completely consumed us. This was the Obama era. People were happier then. Very, very, very 2010s. It also shows Michaela's. Is that her Vine account? Let's check that out. All right, here are Michaela's Vines. No, enough of that.
Let's do this!
I don't know who that girl is. I don't really want to expose her. Forget it. What's this? That looks nonsensical. All right, let's check this girl out.
Do this! You want to know what's doing it? Let's do this!
All right, just regular friends dancing stuff. Alrighty, let's move over a bit. What's this? Michaela? man, these vines are so frustrating. Looks like just a nice day at a tropical resort. What's this? Okay, just dogs. Whatever.
Fast. I probably could if it was like smooth ground. Fast.
Alright, some guy trying to impress Michaela. I get it. She's really, really pretty. This is interesting. Let's look at this. What's this? What's going on? Michaela with a bunch of money. Flashing it about. Where'd you get that money, honey? Where'd you get that money? Remember when Chris talked about that severance check? Did you actually carry that plan through? Did you falsely accuse some restaurant owners of, did you falsely accuse someone at a restaurant and use that false accusation to get that restaurant owner to give you a pension check? Where'd you get that money? You seem to be pretty proud of yourself. That is interesting. That's an interesting Vine video. Let's scroll down a bit. Yeah. Ugh. Oh, Jesus. I didn't know there was going to be a racial slur. I'm sorry about that. All right, okay, I'm sorry about that. So obviously very average, early 20-something, young adult, not quite. Being an asshole, look, but I'm going to say this, we're all assholes in our early 20s, so I'm not going to judge her on that. I really am not. Okay, that's just her friend. Alright, just normal 20-something stuff. Partying with her friends, having a good time. Oh, what's this? Old people dancing at work. They look like they're in their 40s. Come on, Michaela. Don't be like that. So 40-something people dancing at work, and she calls them old people because she's probably 20 or 21 when she filmed this. I wonder if this is a restaurant where she worked, because if this is a restaurant where she worked, she should not have been filming the guests. If she had been caught filming the restaurant's clients, filming the restaurant's guests, dancing, saying pejorative things like, hey, old people dancing at work, hoo-hoo, that might have gotten her fired. Or perhaps she did get fired and she decided to do the whole pension check scheme thing and it worked out, and there she is looking smug with her money. Now, this is absolutely evidence of nothing. This is very, very circumstantial at best. But it is interesting that she's smugly waving around that cash after showing a Vine video doing something which would have gotten a lot of people fired, which is filming your place of work's clients without their permission. Filming your place of work's customers without their permission, saying, old people dancing at work. Like, don't do that. That would have gotten her fired. Looks like she tried the pension check scheme. It's suspicious, but again, very circumstantial. Other stuff doesn't really look that interesting. Nothing I don't really. I mean, so she got the Michaela gold pink boots. Nothing really. Because I'm happy all alone. If you feel like a room because I'm. Guys, you don't know what life was like before the pandemic, before Trump. It was actually because I'm happy. Yeah, this was. You remember life before Trump? Remember life before Trump was president? It was. The Obama years were good. We really just took them for granted, didn't we? That just really takes me back. 2014 was a good time. 2014 was good. I was in my 20s then, but I was younger. And yeah, life was cool. All right. Anything else? This is somebody who's not involved. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. It's good to be young. So those are Michaela's vines. I don't think I've really been seeing the light of day. And they do add, I think, some credence to the belief that, yeah, she and Tara may have tried to pull off a pension check scheme. Now, before we go, I want to do something else. One moment. Before we even talk about leftism, we have to understand these are why leftists lose. When leftists lose, It's because they don't know how to make inroads. They are too busy with purity culture. They are too busy with purity politics. They're too busy slinging things, really horrible words like genocide or rape apologist, or accusing people of being predators involved in late stage capitalism. This is not how you win elections. This is not how you win hearts and minds. Being arrogant is not how you win hearts and minds. Now, I want to show this video because this is a video of several Bernie Sanders supporters dancing in glee after Pete Buttigieg dropped out of the Democratic primary in 2019-2020. And they were so gleeful, and they just gloated over Pete Buttigieg dropping out. When in reality, Bernie Sanders needed those Pete Buttigieg voters to come to Bernie Sanders' side if Bernie wanted to win the primary. But they are too busy rubbing it in the faces of people who really sacrificed a lot for Pete Buttigieg. They are too busy being gleeful and laughing at them to realize you have to be kinder to people and you have to meet people in order to have those people come to your side. And this video here of the Bernie Sanders people just waving goodbye gleefully to Pete Buttigieg is emblematic of why Bernie Sanders and leftists lose. Let's look at this. I mean, why? Why would you do that? Why would you do it? Let's watch that again. All right, and I wanted to show this as a reminder that we need to stay humble and stay kind because this is an election year. No matter what happens, we do need to stay humble and we do need to stay kind. So while I show absolutely no mercy for abusers and con artists like Tara Reade and Anthony Zenkus and Jill Stein, for other people who have real concerns, we do have to listen to them. We do have to listen to that. That includes Trump voters. That includes some, that includes people who have real concerns, especially people who are worried about Gaza, are worried about the economy, are voting for Harris, but also have concerns. These people deserve our thanks, and we do need to be humble. When people are with real concerns encounter difficulties, because this is a very large, very loose coalition, and we don't get anywhere without forgiveness, humility, and trying to meet people halfway. And I just wanted to end on that note. Thank you so much for watching, and take care of yourself. And